OT Wars. By the way, you might be making this bigger than it is.
Well, it was just funny because he was like, oh, but really, you've done so much for me. And I'm like, what about Jane? Jane.
Live in studio, OT last week, but we got the OG OTs this week.
Not one, but two OTs.
Finally, Kaley and Sim.
Whoop.
Boom. Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are
The
NeuroNerds.
Yes, that was on time.
I feel pretty good about that.
NeuroNerds.
Welcome to the NeuroNerds. Okay, so I say this every single week now. This is a very special episode. I actually super mean it right now because I am here with the one and only Kaley, my OT. So excited, so jazzed. It's been way too long. Not only do I have Kaley here, but I also have Sim, Kaley's backup, because Kaley was like, I don't want to do this alone because she fears being awesome by herself. So she has a hype woman. She has Sim, my kind of extra OT when I had sessions. So I have Kaley and Sim here. What's up, guys?
Hi. Hi, Joe.
There is no less awkward way to start this. I'm doing quote fingers.
Who's gonna go first? You say hi. I'm
your hype person.
I'm doing quote fingers.
I don't like being the center of attention.
There's no better way to start this quote unquote amazing episode than with that intro right there. That was amazing. So Kaley, how are you, Kaley?
I'm doing good. How are you?
So that's Kaley, my occupational therapist that I've spoken so highly of. And next to Kaley is her bodyguard for the evening, Sim.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, okay, Sim, my other OT, right?
Unofficial OT.
Oh yeah, my unofficial OT. Right. You're my OOT. Oh
Yes.
shit. That needs to be on a t-shirt. So I'm really, really excited. I'm very thankful to have you here. It's been way too long. And I actually had an occupational therapist on my show before you, which kind of hurt my heart.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not, what's the word? Like jealous about stuff like that. Cause I just feel like if people are helping people, then that's like all that we need.
That's true. It's also a crock of shit. Can I tell you why? There was the time where I said something and I did like this one thing on Instagram with my homie, Katie, the OT. And then I went to a session that we had together and you're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe you should ask Katie, the OT. And I was like,
oh my God, I was just teasing because I knew you would laugh and you'd be like, oh, I think it was just too that her name was like KT and Kaylee.
Oh, do you want to know what's really funny? I didn't even think about that at all. Yeah. Oh, no, but that's awesome.
Thinks about it at night and it bothers.
Yeah. I get you like sitting in a corner, you're turning a light on and off, just like in not Misery, in Fatal Attraction. I get it. So Kaley, I'm really, really happy that you're here. It's been way too long. And I also want to start off the episode by apologizing for that one time I called you KK Kaley. I didn't mean to do it. And it stuck with several of my friends and followers and fellow survivors. There's like this dude in Spain and he was like, oh, how's KK Kaley? And I was like, oh, I don't think you know what that means.
Oh, God.
The story behind that is I was saying it really, really fast on a Insta story or something. I was like, oh yeah, and KK Kaley. And the next day or the next session I had with Kaley, she hit me. She literally, my OT abuses me. She came over, she hit me. She's like, you called me KK Kaley. I was like, I didn't mean to. So yeah, so that kind of stuck. So
great.
I'm really excited. I'm very happy to be here. It warms my cold, dead heart that you're here on the show with me. So we're going to talk a little bit about occupational therapy because you're an occupational therapist. What started you in this field? Was it like, okay, I had a family member, or I just had like this incessant need to help stroke survivors and kids with autism? Like, what's the story behind you choosing occupational therapy?
Well, initially, I actually wanted to do physical therapy, and I kind of looked into that. I used to be a swimmer, so I had a lot of injuries, and so I was always in physical therapy. And then once I kind of got going in physical therapy, it was, I don't know, a little too like the same. It was like a little, it was probably the location I was at, but they were just like the same, like over and over again. So I got a little bored. So then I looked into occupational therapy, which was very similar, but different. And there's just so many different settings and areas and you treat the whole person. So that was a little more intriguing to me. So then I just looked into it and started going for it. And I initially started in hand therapy. So that's where I think you might have been one or like my first or second, maybe third, like stroke client hand patient.
There were others? Sorry, this is the first I'm hearing about this. I need to take a step back and breathe.
Like outside of grad school, because in grad school, they make you go on your different like field work rotations. And obviously you treat patients there. But initially I started in hand therapy. So that's why I was able to, I guess, treat Joe so well.
Yeah, so well. Let me talk about the pain you've inflicted on me.
No, I was like, no pain, no gain.
No, that's true. But I had a retort to that. No pain, no pain. There's that too. You know, like I really feel that you got stronger the more pain I was in. It was really weird when you were working on my hand. Sim, you're an occupational therapist as well. Yeah. Why the interest in occupational therapy?
So it's actually a really funny story how I stumbled.
If I don't
on
laugh.
it. It's pretty funny.
I don't think I've even heard this.
Really? Okay, it's so funny. So my parents are really strict, and they said I couldn't go to school out of state.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I got to pick a school that's somewhere in Long Island or like Jersey that's close enough that they think it's close to home, but far enough that I need to dorm.
What?
Okay,
Because you're originally from New York.
I'm originally from New York. So then Stony Brook University is like a really well-known university, but it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away with traffic. So I was like, all right, what can I do at Stony
Oh my
Brook?
God. This is how you chose your profession.
This is how I chose my profession. And I opened up the health science book, and then like PT was in there, behavior, and then something called OT. It's like, what's OT? And they had like 3 little excerpt, like paragraphs about what OT is. I was like, yes, I can do this. I can help people. This is me. So I started volunteering at an OT clinic, and I fell in love with it. And I got to go away to school dorm, but it was still close enough to home that my parents allowed it.
You know what? That's an amazing story. You got to party just far enough away from home where you're not going to get in trouble. I just love how one of them was like, I wanted to do physical therapy, but I was bored. And the other one is, I just wanted to get away from home.
Yes.
This is amazing. I love that this is your now chosen profession, but I really appreciate it because you guys have literally changed this dude's life, you know? And Kaley, so when I first met you, I was like, this chick's like young.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I don't think I ever asked you. I know Sim's first impression of me.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I need to
I
know.
don't think I've ever heard Joe's first impression of
First,
me.
Joe, tell your first impression.
I think
it
it-
impact
Yeah, I
Sim.
think it's gonna pale in comparison. I'm sure. So like, I walk
It makes me
in.
sound so bad.
My first impression. So I had one occupational therapist prior. She was the one like I had an outpatient one. I had one come to my crib for like
Oh.
a month or so.
So you had like home.
It was like a home visit. Yeah. I had like a certain amount of sessions at home. And Yael, yes, I remember her. And she was cool. She was younger. She was, I would say, 30s, early 30s, maybe late 20s, early 30s. My best guess. It was cool because she was helpful early on in my recovery, and then after that, I transferred over to you, and I went to like the place or whatever, and I was like, there's a bunch of like kids here. So number one, watch your mouth, Joe. I have like an awful mouth, as I've cursed several times.
It helped with your ability to filter.
Yes. Yeah. See, it's all part of the process.
Yeah.
So I go to this place, a lot of kids, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then I see this really tall white chick. And so Kaley, I was like, oh, super cute, super young. Those are the first 2 things that popped into my head. And I was like, all right, well, I hope she's not ditzy. First thing that popped into my head, because you look like a cheerleader, right? You do. You
I'm
look,
not blonde.
yes, but you absolutely look like a cheerleader. And I was like, okay, like let's see how this goes. And then like we started talking, and I was like, oh, she's super dope. Okay, she's not ditzy. She's really smart. I'm pretty sure at some point she's going to physically harm me, which you did. So that was my first impression of you. My first impression of Sim was I didn't really think anything of you. Not in a bad way. I was just like, oh, Sim's cool, I guess. But then you said a couple of things over the first like month or so. I was like, wow, Sim seems like kind of a dick. And then I
Was
realized
it about music or something?
it was. I realized you were from the East Coast, and I was like, oh, it makes so much sense. That's why I always thought Sim was kind of cool, because we both have those. I'm originally from Brooklyn. So I was like, oh, Sim's a jerk. We're family. So, yeah.
If you enjoy listening to this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on the Apple Podcast app. Your reviews help us grow and reach more listeners like you.
Find us by searching for the NeuroNerds on the Apple Podcast app today. That's my initial impression of Kaley. Kind of looks like a cheerleader. I hope she's not a ditz. Right? It's pretty solid. What was your impression of Kaley?
I thought she was a bitch.
I can see that.
She has resting bitch face.
She does.
I was so scared of her.
She does. I don't mean this like in a bad way. Your resting bitch face, it's solid. It's so
you
solid.
have a resting asshole face, though, so you
I do.
understand my struggle.
I'll tell you why. I'm a resting asshole. Like it is what it is.
I was scared. Like, not like just even the first impression. Like, me speaking to her a few times, she was kind of cold. And I was just like, okay, crap. I just signed on to be at this job full time. And I'm going to be working with Kaley out of the Encino office. And she's kind of mean. So I was really scared. But then, like, talking to her a little bit more and stuff, then she became cool. I was like, all right, now she's my best friend.
We're work wives.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are work wives. That's awesome.
I'm pretty sure everyone's jealous of our relationship.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nobody else matters except for you two anyway, you know? So it was cool too, because like when I first started going there, I was like, oh, Sim's like chiming in too. This is awesome. 2 OTs for the price of 1. Also, I had it like in my head, I have to be her favorite client. Like I have to be. I just have to be her favorite client. And most of her clients were like children. So I was like, I gotta step. I can speak in full sentences. We can talk about like life issues and and bond over similar experiences. Talk about music. These kids, what are they going to talk about? Oh, did you see that cartoon? I don't give a shit about that. So, but there was this one kid, and I was like, "Am I your favorite? Be honest." And she was like, "No, there's this one kid. He's my favorite." Blah blah. That I couldn't even be mad. It was the most adorable child.
So cute.
How can I compete with
He's
this?
probably 2.
Yeah, he was you're
So,
trying
like,
to compete with a
So
2-year-old.
Joe's always like, I'll take him down. And then finally one day I was like, did you see the kid walk out?
I was like, yeah.
That was my favorite kid. And I could just see Joe's eyes like welling up with tears. He's like, how do I compete with that?
I can't. But then he stopped showing up for whatever reason. I was like, yes, Joe's on top now. But it was okay. So early on, I still suffer from short-term memory issues and tremors in my right hand. So like my hand is like normally chaos, and a really gnarly case of PTSD, which just with recent experiences has tripled. But I digress. So Kaley at the beginning, she like had this like really dope plan to help me with like my memory. And before the stroke, I had like this weird, like the idiot from Shine, the like Rain Man. I had this mind when it came to like music. So if I would hear a song, if it really spoke to me, I would know 90% of the lyrics after one listen. Yeah, I know. Pretty amazing. I know. After, I can't remember shit. So like new songs, it just, I don't have that kind of retention. Like it just doesn't stick. So Kaley had like this whole plan to the way that I listen to songs. I would write them down. And I'm like, it was just this whole beautiful thing. And it spoke to Felice. Felice is like, Kaley's like super dope. And I'm like, oh my God, she is like super dope. So I did that, and it helped me get back in the groove of like remembering lyrics, which in turn helped me with my day-to-day memory, you know. And then there was like these brain games. There was like all kinds of stuff, which was amazing. And then my hand, I had issues with my hand. She did say she worked on hand stuff. She started working on my hand, inflicting tremendous amounts of pain in my hand. She did the little, what is that electro thing?
NMES, so neuromuscular electrical stimulation.
That thing. And I have never seen so much joy come out of somebody from inflicting so much pain. Like, I don't understand. And then she also did this thing with the scraper.
A-stim.
A-stim?
You mean that?
Yeah, the scraper.
Squisher.
Oh,
Squisher.
it's gua sha,
Gua
with
sha.
gua sha
Sorry.
tools, but it's called A-stim. It's supposed to be a stimulation of your blood vessels. So it's breaking up all the scar tissue that's kind of clogging up if you have something going on in there.
So I think it's Kaley had a bad week and I want to inflict pain on somebody. So what she would do is she would like put like this like cocoa butter on my arm, and then she would with this tool just scrape my arm till I was writhing in pain. And Sim can back me up here. Sim was like, at one point, Sim, you're kind of a dick. I do remember you were like, Joe, you can't be that much of a sissy. And I'm like, I'm not, I'm a grown ass man. And you're like, Kaley, do this to me. And she did it to you.
But first, I watched Kaley do this on you several times, like over weeks. And I'm just watching Joe, just honestly, like in my eyes, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like acting like a little baby because I do this with my clients and none of them act like this. finally I was like, Kaley, you know what? Just do it on me. Like, how are you doing this to the point where Joe is like crying? Kaley killed me. It was hurt so
You
bad.
have to break up the scar tissue.
Jesus, I thought like I had bruises for like days.
I just remember Sim's face immediately was like, oh my God.
It was really hard. Whatever, you got
It's
results.
supposed to break up the scar tissue.
You did what you had to do, girl.
So that the body's soft tissue regenerates and inadequate healing occurs. Over time, the tissue degrades.
So okay, can I tell you what's really funny about that? So like we like hit a point and I just remember like I just kept having issues. I just kept having issues with the arm. And there was one session we went in and Kaley just straight up put tape on my arm. The KT tape.
Oh, the kinesio tape.
Yeah. So I didn't know what this stuff was. And I literally I went home after that session with this tape on my arm. And in my head, I was like, she just gave up. She's literally just giving up. She just put some tape on my body. Like, she just gave up. This sucks. I'm never going to be okay. And the next day, my arm was like, oh my God, it feels like significantly better. It's so crazy. So I do apologize for saying in my head, she just gave up. She just gave up on me. Like, there's nothing else. I'm not reacting to the things she's doing. She's just making some shit
You
up.
should have been like, all the Olympians are doing it. Well, now I'm good with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I would see like this random bright tape on people and like, now I know what it's for. So that was like super amazing. And on top of that, so I don't know if this was part of the gig and I'm pretty sure it wasn't. You don't deal with PTSD stuff, right? No. So Kaley really helped me more than, honestly, fucking psychiatrist with my PTSD.
Felicia's
so
not listening.
I would have, I hope she's listening. Step your game up. So I was suffering terribly. Every noise, every knock, I would just kind of like have these like mini freakouts. And it's debilitating. It really is. Like, my sleep was one thing when I would have my night terrors, but I have my dog for that. And she's given me my nights back. But my days, I still struggled. And going to see Kaley over the course of the last couple of years, she's actually tremendously helped my quality of life. And I joke around all the time on the show because I'm an idiot. Everybody knows that. Wear it as a badge of honor. But I could not be more thankful and happy and blessed to have this amazing person to the left of me. She's to my left, if anybody's curious. I'm really, really excited because she's given me a big chunk of my life back. And I'm so thankful. And so here on top of it, she didn't have to do this. She had to like work my arm. She had to work with like memory just to like get me functional. She didn't have to do this extra stuff for my PTSD, but she did. She worked with, there's so many different things that we did to get me back on track. And I just remember there was one time where she was actually trying to set me off with like have an episode. So she would just make random noises.
Remember we would slam doors?
She would have Sim in the background, like slam a door or drop a book. And I'm like, these guys are mean. But it wasn't. She was just trying to like almost desensitize me. It's like, if somebody's afraid of water, what do? You put them in water and then oh, it's not that bad. So there was a couple of times where she wasn't trying to freak me out, but somebody would come in and something would drop. And then immediately Kaley would like take her foot and she would like put it on my leg, like put like a little pressure, like, hey, it's cool. And I remember I went home that first time and I just like, I broke. I just broke down because I was like, it was such a beautiful thing for me that you cared so much to do that. And it meant so much to me and it still does. And it's one of the highlights of my recovery and I'll never, ever forget it. And I'm eternally grateful. And I'm also, having PTSD flashbacks of Sim slamming doors and dropping books. So that was amazing.
I remember. Kaley gave us all like a different job. She's like, just slam the door. And just slam the door really hard or drop the book.
Why do I feel like you're like Jigsaw from Saw?
Me?
Yeah. Like you're just setting up like elaborate things to freak me
like
out.
Cheerleader version?
Like the cheerleader version of Jigsaw. Yes. By the way, that's going to be my new Halloween costume. Kaley as Jigsaw cheerleader.
I feel like a lot of our sessions too, because it's like occupational therapists are almost supposed to be in a way like observation, like experts. So like when you would tell me things, obviously we only have like a 30-minute session. Like I'm not out there in the real world with you. So it would just be what you're telling me. And then we just kind of brainstorm like, okay, like you're having a hard time with being in the passenger seat when you're driving. Okay. The really bright lights. Can we do like a hat? Can we do sunglasses? Oh, you really are sensitive to like all the noise around you. Can we do headphones? Can we do this? Can we, drown out the noise? And then the whole thing when, everyone does it when they get a little anxious, they're like tapping their foot, they're, fidgeting. So what ways can we have you like giving yourself a little more like input or deep pressure so you're a little more relaxed? We are going over like different like postures when you're sitting, if you could kind of like cross your leg or maybe like, forget what you do. Do you kind of like in a way, but like hold your foot or something? Yeah.
I still do that.
Yeah.
And then you hold your foot and then you like tapping. You're trying to like regulate. You're like trying to regulate yourself.
I do.
Or he like pulls at his shorts. Yeah. So it's not like super obvious, just little tricks and things to do where it's not super obvious that you're uncomfortable.
Right. Because I didn't want to look like a lunatic. I think so. That's the one thing I have learned from therapy is I'm very vain. I didn't know I was this vain. You know, I don't want people to look at me like I'm a crazy person. And then Kaley's helped me not look as much as a crazy person as I normally do. I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, half the time you're like, I had trouble with this today. I dropped this. I dropped that. I'm like, I almost hit someone with my car today. So does that help you?
It's all perspective.
I was like, I forget stuff too. Maybe not as often, but try and like on the bright side of things.
I think that's hilarious. I almost hit someone with my car today. Yeah, they were on the sidewalk and it pissed me off. I'm just assuming that's how it went, right?
No.
Oh my God, did you hit them?
No.
Okay, just checking.
But yeah, it was such a turning point in my recovery running into you guys. You know, it was because you hit a point where it's just like, yeah, this is just what it's going to be. This is my mind. I just forget things all the time. I'm never going to be able to remember anything. My arm, I'm just always going to have a weak handshake. I'm never going to be able to do this. And my PTSD, I just freak out over everything. I'm never going to be able to do this. And I was just kind of like, at that point, I didn't really think anything would help. And you've actually changed this dude's life. You really have.
Didn't we even like problem solve your handshake? We like problem solved a lot.
Yes.
Even like how you held your phone, like the simplest things.
So the way that I hold my phone, I didn't realize I was going to get this thing called iPhone Pinky, where like when you hold your phone, if you don't have like the pop socket,
what do you have? Like
socket,
the 8 Plus, it's like the biggest one.
and I have a case on it because
so it's like 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, if not, it just feels like a toy to me. And I was holding it with all the weight on my pinky when I would hold it up. And that in turn, it would like screw up the little bones in my wrist, which would in turn screw up the muscle going down my arm, which in turn would give me tennis elbow. I was like, how am I getting tennis elbow? I don't play tennis. It's a weird thing to call it. But yeah, so like everything, you have fundamentally changed so much about my day-to-days. And I could not be more appreciative. And Sim, you've been an amazing hype woman on this podcast, but as well as in our therapy sessions, you know, and it's just been awesome. Also, I am very proud to be your favorite client ever. Right?
I mean, after the bath.
I did. So that was one theme. There was a theme going on forever, which is Joe, take a bath. And it's not like, oh, Joe, you're dirty.
We were trying to figure out because, you know, he has trouble sleeping. So we're like, do you have like a sleep routine? Like, how do you get ready to go to bed? How do you relax? How do you wind down? And I'm like, how many hours you're on your phone a day? Your brain is so stimulated. Yeah, we should check right now. Where's your phone?
Where's your phone?
All right, I'm going to get yelled at. I'm sure.
He has so many. Like, it's probably 8 hours.
Yeah.
It might be.
So if you're on your phone too often, it's like the screen time is not good for your brain. Your brain is just like so stimulated. And then it's like you can't sleep.
I'm going to defend myself like I do in my sessions every week where she's like, Joe, you're on the phone this many hours. I speak to so many survivors.
8 hours.
Shit. So I speak to so many survivors around the world.
Average within the last 7
per day.
Yeah, it's rough. Well, I'm doing this campaign with my friend Neffy in Barcelona. So we've been on the phone a lot and Skyping back and forth. So that's like some added extra time where we're trying to change the face of stroke, which is like a really amazing thing. We're not all old white Caucasian
Some of
elderly
this is
people.
games, Joe. Some of this is games.
Yeah. Well,
13 hours is games.
I'll tell you what that is. That's driving. That's me playing Pokemon Go to when I'm a passenger.
Okay, that's our distraction technique. Yeah.
Boom. And aside of that, the rest, I guess. Oh yeah, I'm on the phone a lot. So yeah, I can't even defend it. Most of it's social media, but it's talking to you guys, you know. And I appreciate all you guys. And I have my Monday live that I do with Ella, the Jello live stream that I do every Monday. I've got my Skype call with my brain buddies every Wednesday. And yeah, so it's been, why am I defending this?
Because you need to, I feel like it's so hard because you help so many other people and everyone loves you and everyone appreciates you, but then you don't take care of yourself.
It's something very difficult.
How many people have yelled at you now?
So many. So many people, you know.
We should all make a pact, everyone who comes on to yell.
Yeah.
Take a bath.
Ask
Get off your
Joe.
phone.
No, but I did.
Everyone who goes on the podcast from now on, please ask Joe, what's your screen time?
Oh, shit. Oh, don't do that now. Lauren's going to be bothering me with my screen
Lauren,
time.
please.
Damn it. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. As a brain injury or a stroke survivor like myself, it's hard for me to get through reading books due to my injury. But with Audible, I can now enjoy as many books as I want just by listening. Before I started using Audible, I was having trouble reading my brain buddy Mimi Hayes' book, I'll Be Okay, It's Just a Hole in My Head. But once it popped up on Audible, I immediately put it on my wish list. Read Mimi's book with us. That's right, the NeuroNerds are forming a book club. What a great way for our brain injury survivor community to read books together.
And even if you don't want to read the book we're reading, with this free trial, you can select any book of your choice for free. Go to audibletrial.com/theneuronerds.
Boom! So like the bath thing came in because it's like a very relaxing thing to do. You take a bath, take an Epsom salt bath, you're just hanging out in there. To me, I'm like, that is so gross. You're literally just stewing in your own filth. Then I was like, well, no. You take a shower, clean off, and then you take a bath. And I'm like, okay,
No.
cool.
You take the bath first and then you take a shower.
But you're still in your own like literally, you're just in your own filth.
But now
Just
you
your
take a shower
feet.
after.
Yeah, but you're after. But from the time you take the bath to the shower, you're just hanging out in your own grossness.
But
In
just on your
gross is all
feet.
good.
And I'll tell you what the worst part is. I didn't do like a bubble bath, or I did a bath bomb, but it didn't change the color of the water. So I'm just there looking at my nude body, chilling in this water, the same water that my goodness is in. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot.
But whose fault is that? Because we discussed this in length about how you needed colored water, how you needed a bubble bath so you didn't have to see your own filth or your naked body.
Yeah.
Like we talked about.
I gotta tell you, nobody wants to see this naked body. Even my girlfriend.
Did you even play music in this bath? Were there candles?
I think I was listening to a podcast.
Was it
I'm not sure.
CBD?
No, it wasn't. It was like I had a Spider-Man
We
bath.
talked about
He literally did the opposite of everything.
I had a Spider-Man bath bomb. Didn't really do anything.
I thought it was Mario.
I had a Mario one that was the mango one. So I did that one and did nothing. So then I had the Spider-Man one and it kind of changed the water a little bit, but it didn't really do anything. I was like, yeah.
You know what's kind of
this
funny?
sucks.
We were always telling him to take a bath, and I don't think I've even taken a bath in here because I've never had
What?
a bathtub.
No, I think that's all the time.
I don't have a bathtub. I haven't had a bathtub. Gosh.
Oh, well, that's
Probably
a different
since I lived with my parents.
So, but I did take a bath and it was disgusting. It was horrible. It was a terrible experience for me. But number one, I was bored. I was just bored. So if I do another bath, I'll definitely like have something else to do because I can't just like sit there. I'm way too impatient.
I'm in the
meditate.
I kind of meditated because I was like, I guess there's nothing else to
your
do.
book.
The book? Who reads? Oh, you mean pre-movies? I don't do those. That's what I call books, the pre-movies. But yeah, so I did do a bath. It was cool. You know, it felt good on the body because I was a little bit sore because I think we were just running recently. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to mellow out. I'm going to do this Epsom salt bath. I'm like, it was cool. But like overall, I was like, I would have rather have just taken a bath and then gotten out and played a video game. That would have been amazing for me.
More screen time.
More screen time? Yeah, more screen time. Yeah, but not on my phone. So, you know, it's a completely different thing.
Do you even have the blue light glass? Did you? Didn't you have glasses?
The blue? No, I was thinking about getting the blue light glasses. A friend of mine got the blue light glasses and they're like, yeah, this doesn't do shit.
Were they having trouble sleeping or?
Yes.
Okay.
Like tremendous.
So they were trying to see if that would help.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, this doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, also depends where they got the glasses from. Or they
That's
those
true.
like you know, Amazon like $5 ones that aren't really blue light, but they're saying that's what.
Yeah, they're bluish lights.
Yeah, you know, do a little bit more research into it because me and Kaley use them and it's definitely decreased like my headaches.
Really? Really? Well, I don't get headaches anymore, which is amazing because, you know, I check my blood pressure. Living my entire adult life with migraines is like, oh yeah, it was just unchecked high blood pressure. So has anybody come in to replace this dude as your favorite client now? Like, do you have any amazing clients that you're like, oh, this is almost filling in the gap of Joe's amazingness? Nope, impossible.
I have to think. I feel like it would probably be like a 1 or a 2 year old. I mean, like equivalent in maturity.
Yeah, no, seriously. You know. Thank you to our amazing community on Patreon for supporting this podcast.
You can support us too and get different perks and gifts depending on which Neuro Jedi tier you sign up for. For example, If you're on our Neuro Padawan $5 tier, then you're probably listening to this episode a day early before its public release.
Your support helps us grow and continue to create this podcast. Plus, a portion of the proceeds go to a different cause or individual in the brain injury survivor community each month. Sign up at patreon.com/the NeuroNerds. So what were your impressions of me when I first came through?
To be honest, I probably have a worse memory than you.
You should talk to my OT. She's amazing.
When you guys came in, I did his evaluation. And so usually the process is like they come in, you do an evaluation, you like give them a couple tests. I see like your range of motion, your hand strength. I think I gave you like a cognition test too. Like just
I think I butchered that. I remember there was some things.
I
was
don't
like,
think
damn, I'm an idiot.
so. Mocha. Yeah, the mocha.
Mocha. Like you gave me coffee? That's crazy.
Montreal cognitive assessment. I was kind of reading over the eval before just because I feel like you've just come such a long way that it's hard to even remember that Joe sometimes.
That was Joe. That was the introduction of Joe 2.0.
I don't really remember you as being, like, I don't remember you being like super outgoing or like super loud. Like I remember Felice was with you and you guys came in and like you both, I think, talked equally about like your story and what happened. But I know sometimes like people bring someone because they want someone else to tell their story and because it's just too like fresh or too hard to talk about. So yeah, I remember too the writing, like it was really hard for you to write and like really illegible. Because now you say you have hand tremors, but I feel like it's not really as noticeable for you because you're feeling it, but for like other people, not as noticeable versus before. I remember when you were writing, it was like noticeable.
Awful. It was fucking chaos.
I think you even just to write your name, Joe.
Yeah.
Was rough.
Yeah, I don't remember much about like early on. I do remember the eval. And I remember it was one of the most embarrassing things for me because I was becoming more and more coherent. And then I remember I couldn't draw a clock.
Yeah, that was of the mocha. Yeah,
I couldn't draw a clock. And in my head, like I was rationalizing it out loud because I am very vain. But like the fact is, my mind, it wasn't connecting. Like it just wasn't. And I was like, oh, it's because of this. Oh, is it? No, it just, my brain wasn't working. And I just remember like, oh, idiot, damn it. But it just shows how far, like where I started and where I came.
So when you drew the clock, did you know you didn't draw it right, or in your mind you drew it right?
In my mind, I drew it perfectly. In my mind, I drew it. And then after I was done and I did some other stuff and I looked back and I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. But I couldn't tell you what was wrong with it. When I did it, I was like, yes, this is what it is. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, wait, I don't think that's right. I just don't know how to make that right. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. I feel like depending to certain therapists have like different styles. And I feel like I always try and err on the side of like positivity because I feel like everyone focuses nowadays on like all the negatives and like, oh, you need this, you need that, you're not doing this. It's like all very negative. And so I feel like when we're in therapy, I'm always like, oh, well, you did this today or you did that today or we improved on this. And like, I feel like Joe always appreciated that. I feel like everyone appreciates that. But
no, I didn't just appreciate it. I needed it because as positive as I am, it's mostly for other people, not necessarily for myself. It's one of those things where I have to practice what I preach. And I preach to everybody. Don't beat yourself up for that one thing you did wrong. And if you're going to do that, you have to pat yourself on the back for all the amazing things you've done right. I don't do that. I'll do one thing wrong. I'm like, oh, Joe, you idiot. Damn it. What's wrong with you? But Kaley, no matter what, she's like, yeah, but blah, 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 blah. And of course you have to err on the side of positivity because we're all negative human beings. We almost died. Well, not all of us, but like us, stroke survivors, like we had our brains try to kill us. That's a lot. So it's like it's a new version of us. And it's really, really hard to stay positive. And it was a very appreciative every time that like I would go dark. You're like, stop going dark, idiot. I might be paraphrasing. I'm not 100% sure. I did have a brain injury.
I usually try and like refer back to me. I'm like, well, you want to know what I did today?
Hey, I hit somebody with my car.
If being positive doesn't work, let's compare. Like, comparisonitis at its finest.
And that's what it is, though. Like, you do need perspective, because sometimes it's like, yeah, did this happen because of the stroke, because of the brain injury, or is just a life thing, And the fact that like you really did make me feel, I'm doing quote fingers, normal. Because I think it's one of the most difficult things post brain injury is feeling normal. Because we don't. And I know now we're all normal. It's just a new version of normal.
I feel like that's so hard to say. Even in all these like tests that we give, it's like, it always says like, oh, if you scored like 16 out of 20, then you're like normal. But it doesn't say what is normal. I feel like I hate when tests say that, like normal, or when people say, oh, I just want to be normal. Well, no one's normal.
Yeah, normal.
I don't know.
Boring.
I know.
Yeah. It's a new normal, you know, and it's, yes, a lot of people, one of the thing I hear every single day from new survivors that I reach out to or that reach out to me is, I just want to be my old self again. I'm sorry, and I hate to break it to you, that person's dead.
Well, depending, is it like physically they're normal, mentally?
Both. It's cognitively, it's physically. And the reality is that version of you is gone, and that's okay. That's really, really okay, because this new version of you is significantly better. Maybe not as fast, maybe not as quick, maybe has a couple of hiccups here and there, but this new version of you has like this beautiful appreciation of life, you know, of being here, has a second chance to do things differently, which is awesome, because the alternative is, well, you know, that other person, that other version of you, that person could have died. Didn't. This person lived. So this is a stronger version of yourself, you know, and we just have to like get ourselves mentally there. And I'm so thankful and blessed to have had, you know, not one, but 2 OTs help me on my journey through recovery. And recovery is never ending. Like, it just never ends. And I was actually hoping that it would never end, because like when I had my last session with Kaley, I cried like a little bitch. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend that I was just this big, strong man and I sucked it up. No, I think I teared up when I was in the session, but when I came home, oh my God, I cannot tell you how hard I cried in the parking lot on the way home. Stella, she like my dog, every time I have an issue, she's like all over me. But yeah, it was really, really hard, because you've been part of my routine. And for most survivors, routine is everything. And every Wednesday, I was like, yeah, I'm going to see Kaley. And this is just what this is. I'm going to see Sim. This is just what this is. I'm going to see that other person. I forgot her name. What's her name?
Jenny.
So Jenny's dope. Jenny's really, really cool. She's really, really quiet. That's why I didn't remember her name. Sorry, Jenny. Are you a stroke or brain injury survivor looking for a community and support? Well, the NeuroNerds are here to help. Join our #USORock Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/USORock to connect with other survivors like you.
Plus, read other inspirational brain injury survivor stories on Joe's blog at josorocks.com/USORock. And submit your stories there as well. We want to hear them.
And remember,
you so rock.
Stop laughing at us. So yeah, so the routine, it threw me for a loop, because like, number one, you've become more than just my therapist, you know, like you're part of my family. I would literally dig a hole in the backyard and bury someone if you would like me to. Just saying. Yeah. No. Seriously. So like, you've become more than just my therapist. And it's such an amazing thing. It's such like a great feeling to be helped by somebody who's great at what they do, but also somebody who genuinely cares about you. Because like, I'm speaking for you. You absolutely care about me, or else you wouldn't have gone above and beyond and helped me with my PTSD and help me with my day-to-days. So I was just I was broken. I wasn't even sad. I was broken afterwards. And it took me a couple of weeks to get back on track. It really did. It took some therapy. I go to therapy every week, but like real therapy. And it was funny, because somebody asked me about a week later, and I was like, it hasn't hit yet, because I haven't missed an appointment. It was like the next Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
I'm that same way too.
I haven't missed an appointment yet. And then it was the weekend, like that weekend. And I was,
You could have called in. Oh my goodness, FaceTime.
I was literally, I was in bed, like in a little ball. I was just in the background. I had like Chet Baker playing in the background. I'm like, oh.
Or like all day or something like we used to listen to. Like listening all the old songs we used to listen to, like he was saying.
Yeah.
We probably would.
That's when I first met Joe.
When
you
I was
guys
listening
were
to Alt J,
upstairs,
and
we were upstairs
we would listen to Alt
in the
J
old
songs.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
Joe was working on him writing and remembering lyrics and stuff, and that's where I first met Joe, like during that phase.
That was early on in my recovery, and like my brain was just starting to connect.
That
with
was so
everything.
fun.
That
It was like
was.
a jam session, and we just pick whenever new artists had like new albums or new songs out. I'd be like, don't listen to it because that's cheating.
So what's really funny is, so 2 of them was Alt J, and I love Alt J, and like some of their new music I started to listen to. Glass Animals.
Yes,
there was a couple of Glass Animals songs, and one of the Glass Animals songs actually was the inspiration for the NeuroNerds intro song. It was season 2, episode 3. It's all synergy. It's all synergistically working together. So yeah, just not having that routine is a bummer, but knowing, and you know, it's funny. Every single person I talked to said the same thing. No, but you know, she's still there. It's like, it's not like you died or anything. She's still there. You know, she's running people over on the street. And so there was that, but it was just that routine that I missed. I guess it's kind of like being in school and then you graduate or you go away to school and it's like, oh, I still have my friends, but it's just not the same. You know, we don't have like second period together. Like we don't hang out. I don't know. Where the fuck do people hang out? I never went to school. I was a dumb jock.
I feel like, especially when you work more with adults, it's really about like building a rapport and a relationship. So mainly we work with kids. So it's a little easier to build rapport because you don't just play with them and then they love you. But with adults, it's like you have to, I don't know, dig deeper and like really connect. And like, luckily me and Joe kind of are the same person. We're like the introverted extrovert, right?
Yeah. We are both humongous jerks.
So it's like, I already know, like, I went to Coachella, Kaley. I'm like, oh, you hated it, huh? I was like, yeah, it's great. And then there's all these people around. And you're like, God, why am I here? It's like, I can't escape. But then it's like, yeah, it was great just to like go, I guess. I don't know.
Do you see why I have the greatest OT in the history of mankind?
I just feel like we think the same. I don't, or maybe it was just like because we've been working together so much, all of a sudden we like, it's more, I don't know.
There was this one point where Kaley said something and I was like, oh, in my mind, I was like, your heart is full of hate, just like mine. It was perfect.
We both have resting bitch face. Like,
we do resting bitch face. I have like resting jerk face. You know, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I own it. Hey, Sim, you're right there.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right there.
Yeah, so.
You see, New York is fuck. So it was such a beautiful experience for me being your client. Sounds so weird. Guinea pig works because guinea pigs like you poke and prod, and I've been poked and prodded. And again, Sim can back me up. Kaley abused me. There was a solid 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Where I was abused.
Yeah. Such a crybaby.
See?
Yeah. But how does your hand feel?
Amazing. You know what she is? She's like Joe Jackson. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, he was so abusive. Yes, but have you heard Thriller? So Kaley is my Joe Jackson.
Oh my God.
So Kaley, I am so happy that you're on. That you came on, because you were kind of a dick about this too. You're like, oh, but I got to do the thing. I got to go to like 8 weddings. And it's not just this month. I've been asking her to be on the show for like damn near 3 years, even though the show's only been on for like 2 years.
Sim's been trying to take me out for my birthday. My birthday was in June.
Oh my God.
I forgot. Oh my God, Kaley, was this your way of timing? I'm so sorry. You gotta go.
But again, for this, I was like Kaley's like, well, you know,
I
you
just
have like
being prepared.
Some questions laid out. I'm like, I'm not going to lay out any questions. We're just going to have a conversation because like you're people, you're just regular ass folk. So just be you. It's just a conversation. You know, if it was just very, very robotic, it just would be very boring. I don't think it would resonate with people. And I think that's why I recovered the way that I did, because I was talking to you and I was like, oh, you're like people. You're like a very mean looking person, but you're people. And I could not be more appreciative of you. I could not be more in debt for the chunk of my life that you've given back to me. And I mean that. And I promised I wouldn't cry. And I'm not going to. Joe's a grown ass man. But when you fuckers leave, it's over. Waterworks, it's going to be a thing. So, and also Sim, I'm really appreciative of you for, you know, going out of your way and leaving those kids on their own to come help Kaley with me. You know, they figured it out. They have their whole life ahead of them.
Oh my God, they were safe. I had an intern. They weren't alone.
So, and for everybody, all of these stories over the last couple of years about my occupational therapist, this is her. This is the woman, the legend, the KK Kaley.
And I don't have chipped nails.
Wait, do you have chipped nails right now? No, she doesn't even have anything on her. So I'll say this, 99.9% of the time, hashtag Kaley has chipped nails, and 100% of the time, hashtag Sim has small pinkies. Just pointed that out. They are very small.
I don't know why.
They are though.
I never until you pointed that. My whole life, I would have been just fine not knowing this fact
Again,
about myself.
Jill's kind of a dick. I don't mean to be. I just point like
I feel like this was fun though. I feel like we could do this again.
Absolutely. I would absolutely love to have you guys on again, because the first occupational therapist that I had on the show that wasn't Kaley was Jane from Heal the Brain with Jane. And she was on, and she's going to be coming on again too. So I can't have a double occupational therapist without you guys saying that you're going to come back on the show. Oh yeah.
We'll be back.
Thanks to our sponsor, Avid Technology, for providing us with the tools, or should I say Pro Tools, to record, edit, and mix our podcast and get our message out clearly to the world.
Try Avid first to start recording today for free at avid.com/pro-tools.
Yay.
Yay.
This has been awesome. Seriously, Kaley, I love you. I am so thankful for you. You have, see? You've meant the world to my recovery. And I cannot thank you enough. And I'm in complete debt to you, and just thank you for giving me this part of my life back. And I couldn't have gotten this far without you. And Sim, that goes for you too. Like in a hype woman secondary role.
It was all Kaley.
Wait, do you have anything to say about Jane?
Who? see, the OT rivalry begins. No, Jane's super dope, and she's a fan of yours. And I'm a fan of Jane. I'm a fan of all of yours. Don't make me choose. It's like a Sophie's Choice for occupational therapists.
Oh my gosh.
But in all seriousness, Kaley, you've meant the world to me, and I could not thank you enough. And you are just everything to me, to the point where you have a section on my blog, Kaley's Corner, which
I will.
We've been so busy.
but it's cool because I actually have Jane, who's going to contribute under Kaley's Corner. Under Kaley's Corner, it's going to be Jane contributing to Kaley's Corner, because it'll always be Kaley's Corner. And Sim just got Sim's like, I want a Sim section.
I was supposed to have Sims, like, what was it?
Sim section.
Sim sensory section.
Oh, I love that alliteration.
Sensory, though.
I know.
Thank you guys for being on the show. I really, really appreciate you guys. You guys want to give out your socials? I'll jump on. So follow Sim at
AKA_SimSima.
Follow Kaley at.
I don't want to give my note. I don't post anything.
Boom. Follow me at Joso Rocks everywhere. Follow Lauren at Lauren L. Manzano on Instagram. Follow us at the NeuroNerds everywhere on this amazing. It finally happened. I am so grateful for my incredible OT notes. This NeuroNerd is out.
Bye.
I love that was the end.